Much of what Joanne has shared with us in a remarkable way, and over these last 4 sessions we've gained, hopefully, a lot of information and a little bit of an insight into the dilemma of dementia and the dilemma of caregiving. For my part, and hidden in the midst of it for you to discover, is everything that Joanne has talked about. But I want to begin with 2 stories, 2 real stories about dear friends of mine, and then simply touch on 3 areas of spirituality in terms of caregiving. And the first story is about Martha and Tom. Martha and Tom have been friends of mine for 35 years. When we first met, Martha ran one of the large hospitals downtown Toronto. Tom was a journalist. They met in later life. They have no family. About 6 years ago, Martha's health began to tumble, and began to tumble rapidly, and Tom became quite concerned. Currently, Martha is virtually bedridden. Takes, she tells me, about 24 meds a day. Suffers from a number of breakdowns within her system, primarily congestive heart failure, a fear of pneumonia, which would do her in, loss of mobility, loss of control of her own life, dependent entirely upon her husband. Her husband, when I was talking to him post-Easter, says, "David, I can't remember the last 4 years of my life." And I said, "Tom, you're joking." He says, "Seriously, David, I cannot remember a thing about the last 4 years of my life. It's gone. I remember everything about Martha's life. I remember nothing of my own." Story number 1. Tom and Martha, to a large extent, have lost their faith, struggling with age or with end of life, and the quality of life, and what the future holds or doesn't hold. Noel's story, and Noel and I have been friends for 46 years. Noel rose to the rank of being being director of one of the largest social service agencies in the United Kingdom. Top of the line, right up there with the gods. After retirement, he began to experience ill health. He'd always battled overweight. It developed into diabetes, all of the fragility that comes with severe diabetes, which in his case it is. Then he got hit hard with Parkinson's. Then his beloved wife Jean contracted breast cancer and died. The stress of living with that, the adjustment, selling the family home, moving into a small apartment, loss of his own mobility, physical mobility. He has a little scooter that he zips around on. He is the father, the parent of a challenged daughter, 3 sons who live at the opposite ends of the British Isles from where he is. They're within a 5-hour drive of him if anything is critical, but they're young tending to their own careers, tending to young families. Noel is largely on his own, lives in a small village where he had lots of support when he was active in the village, active in the local church. Very good friends with the rector. He was the warden, the church warden for the local parish. That was up until his wife died some 8-9 years ago, and his life is closed down. The bishop has moved the minister to another parish, long way away. The new minister doesn't know Noel. Noel's family are scattered. Noel hasn't lost his faith, but Noel has lost his church. Those who are of an age to visit Noel do so by Skype or by emails, because they too are battling their own age issues and health issues and mobility issues. Those two stories capture for me some of the critical issues that many caregivers deal with in terms of their own family, either their proximity to their family or their distance from their family, from their person they care deeply about and are unable to be around. The three critical areas in terms of spirituality are P, C, and G. Those are easy things to remember, P, C, and G. And P stands for presence. Can't underscore enough the importance of simply being there. You may not be able to communicate with your loved one. They may have loss of hearing. They may have loss of mental faculties. They may have many losses in their life. Makes it difficult, but never, ever, ever underestimate the power of simply being there. Your presence is an incredible support to them. It's an incredible relief to them to have someone whom they know, a face they remember, a voice they remember, maybe the only face or the only voice that they remember. Someone who, as Joanne said, can touch them in a caring and loving manner. Someone who can hug them, care for them. Presence, non-judgmental, unconditional love. That's the most important part or aspect of spirituality. And as I look out at your faces and know something of your story, I know every one of you have practiced that spirit. You wouldn't name it as a spirituality, yet you are there. You're at the home, the care facility, or the person is living in your own home, or you make regular visits to their home, or within your own home, or to the care facility, or you're at the hospital for long periods of time every day before you go home to care for yourself. And that's an important piece of the puzzle as well, caring for yourself. But the spirituality of presence, never, ever, ever underestimated. It is powerful. Key, second to that, though some people will argue that it is the umbrella under which presence falls, I call it is the spirituality of compassion. It's the big C word. Compassion for yourself as well as compassion for the other. Many of us are doers in life. All our lives we have done things. We love to do things. We love to bake casseroles. We love to build things. We love to participate, volunteer for organizations. We're doers. All of my life I've been doing. I love doing things. Presence sometimes doesn't require us to do anything, but be there. But the compassion requires that we do something, both for ourselves and for the other. It means recognizing that we can't do anything about the disease, whether it be cancer or whether it be dementia. Someone else has to look after that aspect, be it the care home or the oncologists. We simply have to have the compassion to accept the situation, both our own situation and our loved one's situation, and in that acceptance, practice our own compassion. You probably will have questions about that, and I shall leave that until the question time. P, C, and G. G, those last 3 slides that Joanne shared with us, you may not remember them, but if we practice the spirituality of presence, and if we practice and develop into compassionate people, we discover that third spirituality, which is grace. We discover in the midst of all of the chaos, in the midst of all of the troubled minds and diseased bodies, in the midst of death-filled situations, we discover other people, other caregivers, caregivers for us, caregivers for our loved one, and in our interactions with them and in our interactions with our loved one, we discover moments, rare moments of grace. And that's, for me, that's where the gold lies. That's the rock solid bottom of. You have touched the face of God when you are in the midst of those grace-filled situations. And sometimes they are ridiculous. Sometimes they are filled with humor. Sometimes they are filled with utter frustration, like trying to get both of your legs into the same leg of a pair of track pants, and you both fall over and laugh, and in that little moment the spark of grace is gifted to both of you. And you discover the love, the compassion, the presence, all coalesce together into something that is pure gold. There I rest my case, and I invite Joanne to join me in the other chair, and we'll open it for comments and/or questions.